Now I like to hear this.
Contact sports can be very exciting to watch and play, but at what cost? Many professional athletes are putting themselves at high risk for concussions.
You got to release him. When that puck is chipped by, Char's got to let him go then. So not only does he ride him into the boards, he puts him into that dangerous spot, and that is a defenseless position.
A concussion is a type of traumatic brain injury that is caused by a blow to the head or the body, a fall, or another injury that jars or shakes the brain inside the skull. Although there might be cuts or bruises on the face or the head, there may be no other visible signs of brain injury. During an impact, the brain is pushed against the inside of the skull and can be bruised. In addition, different parts of the brain can move at different speeds, producing shearing forces that can stretch and tear nerve tissue. They also alter the balance of ions and chemicals in the brain, which impairs nerve cell function and contributes to the loss of consciousness seen in concussions. There are two types of concussions. They're simple and complex. A simple concussion is one in which the symptoms gradually resolve themselves within 7 to 10 days. A complex concussion is where the symptoms persist and the thought process can be affected. There are 4 basic types of symptoms of concussion. The first type deals with the thinking and remembering and includes not thinking clearly, feeling sluggish, and unable to concentrate. The second type includes physical symptoms such as headaches, difficulty balancing, and feelings of dizziness. The third type includes sleep symptoms in which the sleep is affected, where the person either sleeps more or less than usual. The fourth type includes emotional symptoms in which the person gets easily upset, increased feelings of anxiety, and feeling more emotional. I've discussed what concussion is and how they are caused. Now let's take a look at some statistics of concussion in sports. According to CTV News, the amount of concussions sustained in NHL is many and have affected players' careers and caused long-term problems. Sidney Crosby, for example, an all-star for the Pittsburgh Penguins, received a blow to the head in a game on January 1st, 2011. He was not cleared to play again until November 21st, 2011, 10 months later. Their injury was almost career-ending.
Just getting into position, did he turn, get hit?
Oh, yeah. Steckel does it. Wow.
You talk about blindside. It didn't look like Steckel was really looking at him, but there's your description of a blindside. Let's watch 39.
He's looking for the puck.
He's trying to go up.
Eric Lindros, also a Hall of Famer, who played for the Philadelphia Flyers, said concussions suffered early on changed the way he played in the NHL, and he feared for his own safety. I certainly did not play as well during the later stages of my career, Lindros said. He played 5 or more seasons leaving the Flyers, but after making the All-Star team 6 times in his first 8 years, he did not make it again after leaving Philadelphia. Goaltenders are not spared the possibility of getting a concussion. Mike Richter, also a Hall of Famer, a goaltender for the New York Rangers in the 90s. After receiving 2 concussions in less than 8 months, he was forced to retire from the game of hockey.
Unable to control the fluttering puck. So Bailey, leading pass for Nielsen, he scores! Fleury challenged, he lost his helmet, and the Islanders with a 5-2 lead as Fleury.
Watch the pass. There's the turnover again. Josh Bailey finding Nielsen as he's cutting up to the middle, protects the puck and just gets his head up. There's.
As you can see, pucks don't really cause concussions. It's usually hits even to the goalie. Here's a graph I pulled up. Traumatic brain injuries. Hockey is 9.1% compared to football. Most people would think is 6.3%. According to Whitney Harding and Kevin Jacobs of Helix Magazine, there are more traumatic brain injuries resulting in hockey than in football, as I just showed you. I've discussed some NHL players whose lost their lives have been dramatically affected by concussions, as well as shown statistics of the amount of concussions. I'll now discuss some ways that can minimize the risk of sustaining a head injury. In order for the amount of concussions to be minimized, there are some changes and precautions that could be taken. Wearing appropriate certified helmets during play can reduce that risk. Today, helmets are made much better. The shell of the hockey helmet is generally made of a substance called vinyl nitrile that disperses force from the point of contact, while linear may be made of either vinyl nitrile foam to reduce the chances of concussion. According to CBS Sports, the amount of concussions in the NHL required rule changes, which began in 2011.
On the ice.
Now here's a hit before they made the change in 2011.
His hit goes down here, Bertuzzi goes after him, and he lands on him right there. And then the pile lands on Steve Moore. Looks like he's out at that point.
Another look at it. Bertuzzi wanted it. Piled on him, and you can see that his head hits the ice and everyone else
That was ultimately the last game that Steve Moore ever played. 10 years later, he still feels concussion symptoms. Rules have also been changed to minimize the amount of head contact hits, so there's less risk of concussions to the players. The players that do make hits to the head are heavily penalized during the game. Another aspect of hockey that has changed is the amount of severity in fights. This too minimizes the amount of head injuries. Most importantly, the best way to minimize head injuries is to make players and coaches aware of the dangers these hits can cause. Here's a collage of just some head hits. Today I've described what a concussion is. Second, I showed statistics of concussions in sports, as well as shared stories of professional athletes' lives that have been affected by concussions. Finally, I gave some ways the amount of concussions can be minimized in sports. Concussions are a serious problem in sports which can lead to permanent brain damage. Concussions are a very serious injury that can have long-term effects. There are ways to prevent them from occurring, and all precautions should be taken before you decide to play a sport. Concussions are a serious problem in sports which can lead to permanent brain damage. Thank you.